even have the contact info of Attorney Yora, Mr. and Mrs. Pestano, yung lawyer. I have it here. At the time, I gave a review. Yeah. I gave a review. Maiksi lang. 3-page.
Yung parang synopsis mo yan.
Yeah. And I said, based on the information available, this is consistent.
Asan yung statement
with
dito mo?
yung part na...
Sa anong page?
Yeah.
Page 1?
Yung cause of death is that perforating handgun wound to the head. Based on available information, there is no reason or cause to call the manner of death other than suicide. Ito na. Yan yung original file.
Ito.
Okay? And then I listed down the salient points, significant points, 1 to 7. The only misgiving I have is that at the time, maybe I should have, in hindsight, I should have pushed for an explanation. Because that came up. And I thought, this is clear cut. May suicide note, single gunshot onto the head. This is a site of election. Typical. Closed door. Walang issue of kanina yung baril. Scene was very orderly. Walang ibang injuries. What as I mentioned earlier, and I thought, siguro hindi na kailangan ng exhumation and all, but later on, yeah, but later on, apparently, they went shopping for forensic experts.
Pero originally
I was asked.
You were asked ba, di ba?
Yeah, I was asked. We paid.
They paid, o siya?
Yeah. And when I gave my report, they got it. Meron pa nga ako, kumuha pa sila ng extra copy. I think may picture pa dyan ni Mrs. Pestano. And I thought that was the end of it. But apparently what they did was they went around looking for people who would agree to their conclusion. You know, that's wrong. You start an investigation with a conclusion. So, ganun sila eh. So, ang hinahanap nila, people who would agree to their statement that he was killed. You don't do that. You start with the facts of the case.
So,
and where do the facts lead? Everything is consistent with a suicide.
So, burn na yung bridges nyo pala. After you make this yun sa amin na yun.
Eh, hindi pabor sa kanila yung findings ko eh. But then I go there to look. So, when it went to the Senate, somehow, there was a Senate investigation. 97, 98 yata yun.
97.
Something like that. Mr. Pestano openly discredited me. He said that my findings were below me. Sabi ko naman, that's his prerogative.
You were hired.
Yeah, ayaw nila yung findings ko. Eh, ano magagawa ko? And then at the time, ang interesado naman, eh, siyempre, yung kabila, the Philippine Navy, because they're saying all along, he killed himself. So, at some point, it was an ethical dilemma on my part.
Oo nga.
Paano yun?
Paano binalasa
Diba?
yun? Di ba po?
I felt that I was released from all obligations to the first parties.
Nung diniscredit ka na?
When the Senate asked me to publicly divulge my findings. And
Kasi
I
naman
felt...
pwedeng i-divulge public ito kung hindi sila nag-o, di ba? Yung nag-contract
Yeah,
sa party.
yun ang issue
But
ko.
then again, naobliga ka dahil ang Senado na nagsasabi sa'yo.
Sila pinaka. So, nung na-release ko na yan, itong findings ko eh. I felt, wala na. Although, the Philippine Navy never really formally contracted me at the time. It was more of, I went to Japan on a scholarship, Japanese government university, and I did it as an academic. So, that time the sea. I went to the ship. I was able to see the bullet, the casing, the gun. So I had access to other documents. And I made a paper.
After you did this report,
Oo, nauna to. This
Nauna
was
to,
1995.
tapos nagkaroon ka ng another.
Oo.
Pero binigyan ka rin naman ng access syempre. Nung
Ito
first
lang ang
book mo,
meron
diba?
ako. Ito lang ang meron
Ito lang
Yan
yung pinaglaruan mo, ito lang.
Oo.
I don't know. So wala akong
Yan.
makuha.
Statements. I had no access to the sea,
okay.
the gun, just the reports. Ito lang ang meron ako. So later on, I had the opportunity to do it as a
Parang
paper.
ocular mo talaga.
I really
Sem
went.
1 ocular na
I really
talaga.
went. I got to see the ship itself. Yung ship. I got to study the layout.
Mhm.
Yung kwarto, paano ka ba makapasok doon? May shared bathroom pala. How do you get in and out? It's just just one door. Tapos,
Bullet marks ba yun?
ha?
Mga bullet holes.
Andun pa yung bullet hole. Basta yung layout niya. Actually, nandun pa yung bullet hole. Ito, ano na to, provided na yung scene pictures.
That's
Same
him.
pa rin eh.
That's him, right? That's him.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Maraming helpful din dito eh. Like, kasi, ano sabi nila? Ano bang theory nila? Binugbog muna siya. Nasaan ang bugbog? Yung tama daw sa near the bullet hole. But the simplest explanation there is that is what we call a muzzle wound. And you correlate that with the injury as described. This is classic, basic. I don't know ba? Merong bilog na contusion next to
The wound.
the wound. Classic yan, yan. May butas,
Explanation mo dyan.
muzzle, imprint.
Yung
If you know forensic pathology, then you have an explanation.
yung
Ang problema, yung mga forensic experts na kinuha nila, none of them is a forensic pathologist. So, paano kami magkakaintindihan? Yung forensic pathologist, kung saan ko ni-refer to, Dr. Cyril Rectamon, agreed. Because it's not a simple, it's not a complex thing.
muscle imprint sa liman, parang
Nakadikit. Ayan. Nakadikit.
Ito ang
yung-
tumama.
Oo, nakadikit siya. So, meron siyang bilog na lumabas. Yun.
Alright.
Okay?
Yan yung nalagyan ng
Yan,
spring,
yan.
di ba?
Halimbawa, ito yung talagang barrel na
Ito
ginamit
yung
sa
uso niya,
kanya.
di ba?
Modified.
Mhm.
Merong modified na tawag nila request spring here.
Oh, ito yun. Ito yung
As
tumama sa kanya.
described, yeah, ito yun. Ito yun. Dito
Nilalagyan ng
pumasok
spring.
ito.
Di ba?
So, as described by the doctor,
Dahil nakaganon.
ayan yung mga description niya ng bala-bala. Ito yung drawing ng isang doktor. Simple. Alam ka namang pinukpok muna siya doon at almost the exact spot kung saan ka pagkakulin. The simplest, most logical explanation is, are they not related? And this means, this is a muzzle imprint, which implies that the muzzle of the gun was right next to the skin. Ano significance nito? It was an intentional gunshot wound. Okay? So that's one element already of suicide. Ang next question mo is, was anybody else involved or siya? And everything points to, siya lang. Ganun ang elements eh. Suicide, intentional, and also self-inflicted. Pag na-satisfy mo yung dalawa, walang ibang involved, at saka talagang sinadya, that's it. It's a conclusion of suicide. Simple. Ano, pinatay daw siya, pinukpok muna, elsewhere in the ship. But if you look at how his body was discovered,
Tingnan natin yung body. Ito.
look at that. He was wearing a shirt, white shirt. Anong explanation bakit ganyan ang suot niya? Because he was dressing up. This is consistent with yung time na nag-disappear siya. Hindi siya nag-report for duty. Yung time na yon, he was changing into his uniform. Yung shirt niya, yung upper shirt, nasa chair.
Saan mo yan? Sa
Chair. Okay?
Hirapan lang muna sa body.
I think I have other pictures.